For today's episode of Rare, I am delighted to welcome Matthias Hess onto the episode. So he has progressed through a range of global, regional, and country level commercial leadership roles at companies such as Pfizer, Actelion, Janssen, Vifor, and CSL. Matthias is now leading the European business of SpringWorks Therapeutics as Senior Vice President, Head of Europe. So SpringWorks Therapeutics is a commercial stage biopharmaceutical company that applies a precision medicine approach to developing and delivering life-changing medicines to patients suffering from devastating cancers. So welcome, Matthias. Before we start, could you talk us through your journey so far?
Thank you for the invitation, Laura. I'm pleased to share with you today some personal views and experience on the topic of rare diseases and how to bring novel drugs to patients in need. Over my career to date, I've had the pleasure of working with many different innovative biotech and pharmaceutical companies. And after an initial experience in primary care, I was always active in specialty care and in particular in the field of the rare diseases. My rare disease journey started in Actelion Pharmaceuticals originally, which at the time was among the first companies to specifically focus on rare diseases. The company then grew to become one of the largest biotech companies with headquarters based in Europe before its successful acquisition by Johnson & Johnson. Over the years, I had the pleasure to lead very capable teams in different companies to launch many new drugs in a range of therapeutic areas, and to develop innovative portfolios and to also build businesses from scratch, like now at SpringWorks. I had the chance to do this in established markets and farm emerging markets, and in culturally very diverse contexts worldwide, basically. Patients, how I see it, patients and their carers are desperately waiting for a therapeutic option in these areas of high unmet medical need. So for me, it has been always a very satisfying experience to bring novel drugs and rare diseases as quickly as possible to the market. And with such ambitious endeavors of changing together the disease areas for the better, the collaboration with like-minded people, and I mean this internally and externally, was always essential to make the audacious ambitions a reality. And to get the right and diverse talents on board and to lead the team with the common vision and goals and to empower them is absolutely key and is, again, very satisfying. I'm, as I said, currently working at SpringWorks Therapeutics as the head of Europe, where we're establishing currently our organizational footprint in Europe. And globally, we have a strong team with a very cross-functional approach and a focus on making things happen with co-workers and also with our partners. So much about me.
Yeah, no, great. Thank you for that. So it has been quite evident over the past couple of years, the challenges that smaller biopharmaceutical companies have faced when trying to expand their operations to Europe. Over more recent months, so we've definitely witnessed new organizations entering the space, which is fantastic. What would you say are the key considerations when choosing a location for European headquarters?
Yeah, it's a very key question, of course, for any business when coming to Europe. And I think we need to maybe look back for a moment at the last years and see a bit the evolution of what happened in the industry. And especially before the pandemic, the regulatory approvals in Europe did reach a high point, which was followed then by a lower number of approvals of new entities. And with this also with an impact on companies in 2022 and 2023. And rare disease drugs in the European context did then steadily grow over the last 15 years, not so much impacted by the pandemic and still with a bit of a dip in 2023. And we see that overall the emerging pharma market in Europe is growing with more than today 1,000 companies with up to 3 assets under development or already market, so rather small companies. And we see that these are quite concentrated in 5 markets. About 2/3 are based overall in the UK, France, Germany, Sweden, and Switzerland as well. which already gives us a bit of an indication in terms of interesting geographies for innovation in Europe. For companies then entering Europe, there are some key decisions to be taken, and an assessment of the unmet need and combined with essential business consideration is of course at the core of any evaluation. And then these will inform basically the commercial strategy. Choosing then the location, the country, is a very strategic decision too, and includes various elements like political stability on one hand, then ease of setting up new businesses, then also international connections and relationships that come with a country setting and the commitment to innovation locally, and also tax policies, of course, not to forget about that. And then last but not least, access to skilled workforce. And of course, there are many good location options around Europe, each with their own merits. But for us at SpringWorks, Switzerland rose to the top, and it is centrally located in Western Europe, meets many of those requirements that I just mentioned. And there's a wealth of experienced pharmaceutical industry talent around here. That's why we've established our European headquarters in Switzerland.
Yeah. Well, what are the biggest challenges that you anticipate launching in key EU markets in 2025 and beyond?
The main challenge when establishing a business in Europe or broader international markets is always the need to tailor your approach to country-specific environments, and especially 2 points stand out there. And one is the path to gain market access, or simply getting new drugs reimbursed, is country specific and requires very special focus and also special expertise. Then the patient management and pathways, when you look at the European markets, and this is special, I think, especially pronounced in rare diseases, can vary substantially between the different countries and requires in-depth local knowledge, and comes also with the need to closely collaborate with the clinicians, advocacy groups, and also the authorities. And finally, establishing a team in a staged and also timely manner that brings the essential expertise to set up and run a new business regionally and also at country level is absolutely critical. And in a period of rapid growth, it's so important to plan, prioritize, and implement effectively, and then to retain a solid focus on the must-dos and the nice-to-dos, and make sure that we get not distracted by these nice-to-dos or second-level priorities. And at SpringWorks, we have currently 2 products approved in the US, both of which have been filed with the European Medicines Agency. And so this puts us in a position where in Europe we must now deliver value to clinicians and their patients, and by collaborating with them to ensure we meet their needs. With our US experience, we have been able to glean insight that is transferable to a large extent to Europe, so that we're also in a strong position to hit the ground basically running.
Yeah, just on the products then of SpringWorks. So could you give us an overview of the science or the focus of the assets of SpringWorks?
Yes, as you mentioned initially in the introduction, SpringWorks is a commercial stage biotech company with the core aim to develop and deliver life-changing therapies. And today we focus on patients in particular with rare tumors, hematological cancers, and also biomarker-defined metastatic solid tumors. Because the need is great, we are digging very deep with the team into the science of all our investigational, but also the approved medicines, and it's approved in the US so far, to unlock their full potential, while we'll simultaneously need to develop further other promising molecules too.
Yeah. So what drew you to take on the role at this particular time in SpringWorks' journey?
There were 2 critical points for me. One is the portfolio of drugs, a bit what I just mentioned before, that addresses the high unmet medical need and that are true innovations in their fields, in oncology in that instance. That was always important to me. So that was the first key point. Secondly, I'm with SpringWorks. I found a company with strong values and a team that cares about patients honestly and deeply. and a team that is ready to work hard and go the extra mile. I think these are the two key points for me. In addition, establishing a business in such a relevant area just from the ground up can be very rewarding for everyone on board with this endeavor. And as we continue to expand in Europe, as we speak, we're still looking for like-minded people with very diverse backgrounds and the critical abilities and experiences to join our team and this business, this endeavor. And we'll continue to build on our strength from the established, as I said earlier, US business and adapt it to new processes and partnerships in the new European framework. And I believe with this, we're very well positioned to bring much needed medicines to people living with rare conditions, and in our case, rare oncology conditions.
Yeah, it sounds like a really exciting time for the company. But thank you, Matthias, for taking the time to feature on Rare.
Thank you so much, Laura. Pleasure.